What's up, everyone? This is Austin from Calling Our Shot, and I'm giving you some betting tips for Saturday, February 13th. Man, it's the weekend, but hey, we still got to make some money. So in this video, I'm going to recap my favorite NBA player props, my favorite spreads and over-unders, as well as my ideal perfect lineup for daily fantasy. If you're new here, click that like and subscribe button down below. Really helps us grow this channel out to where we want it to be. If you also have never checked us out before, check out our website at callingourshot.com for full analysis about every single player that we're picking tonight. But without further ado, let's hop into those player props, and I'm going to start with my lock of the day, Jimmy Butler, over 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists, all combined. He's been filling up the stat sheet lately. If you haven't been checking it out, he has hit this over in 6 of his last 7 games since he returned from injury. He was hitting it, well, not injury, but from the COVID list. He hit it almost every game before he went onto that list for, who knows, almost a month. And he's hit it in 6 of 7. The one game he didn't was a blowout against the Washington Wizards. He's going to hit it again tonight. This should be a low-scoring game against the Jazz, as the Jazz are on the second half of a back-to-back, and you'll see me pick that in a couple minutes for our favorite spreads and over-unders. But I got to go with Jimmy Butler. He's my lock of the night. We've been feasting on this line. We've been betting it over and over again. Vegas doesn't want to move it up. It should be like 40.5. It's not. It's still at 35, and we have to take it. You could have gotten it earlier on at 33, 34, but it's up to 35.5. No brainer. Still lock it in. My lock of the night. Moving on, the next game is going to be Domantas Sabonis over 21.5 versus the Hawks. Sabonis hurt us a couple nights ago when he only scored 18 and we had his over against the Nets, but they got blown out. He looked terrible. He's back. Last night he had about 28 points, or a couple nights ago he had 28. He's back. He's playing the Hawks, who don't scare me in the interior of their defense. They just gave up over 35 points to Kristaps Porzingis. Domantas Sabonis doesn't have the same skill set that Porzingis does. He's not going to shoot 23s like Porzingis basically did, but he's going to be in the paint, beasting and feasting on John Collins, Clint Capella, you name it. The Hawks just gave up, I believe, 7 for 7 to Jakob Poeltl. And if that is any indicator, Sabonis should feast again tonight, easily going over 22 points. That's about his average on the year. That's why we're locking it in. Moving on to our next player prop, Draymond Green over 15.5 rebounds and assists. I don't need to say much about it. I did see a tweet that he said he was drunk at the bar. I don't even care if he's drunk or not. They're playing the Brooklyn Nets. They don't play any defense. And if you know Draymond, you know he's inspired. He's fired up to play against the Brooklyn Nets, who they're a super team. They got Durant, who him and Draymond had beef. Draymond's going to be out there trying to show the Nets what's good, and that's why I got to pick him. I think it went up to 16.5. I don't care. He's had 10+ assists in 5 or 6 straight games. He's going to play a lot of minutes, and he's going to fill up the stat sheet against this Nets team that plays zero defense whatsoever. And my last player prop for today, Ben Simmons over 14.5 points. I woke up feeling a Ben Simmons game. That game tips off very soon, so the game has likely already ended before you have watched this video, but I got to pick it. He's been doing great. He's hit this over in 4 of his last 5 games. The one he didn't hit it was when he had 14 points on the dot. He's going to have to be aggressive against the Suns team that will likely try to stop Joel Embiid, leaving a lot of open lanes for Simmons to drive and dunk the ball. The Suns do not have anyone that matches up physically to him. They could put Jay Crowder, but he's on the bench. We'll see if he gets into the starting lineup tonight. But if Kaminsky starts, it will be a mismatch. We'll drive past him every single time. And that's why I'm putting my money on his over in points. And then moving on, we got our best spreads and bets of over-unders tonight. Like I already talked about, you heard it. I'm going to go with the under in the Heat versus Jazz game. Just trying to pull up the exact line. Let's see what it's at right now. Looks like it is at 218. I'm still going to take the under. These teams will not combine for that many points. The Heat cannot score over 100 points. That's not what they're like. Jazz second half back-to-back. They'll be a little slower, fresh legs. Bench will probably play more, which is why Jordan Clarkson makes my ideal DFS lineup. But yeah, I'm taking the under tonight. Back to the Suns versus the Sixers games. I'm going to take the Sixers -1. I already talked about Embiid's been beasting. Ben Simmons should have a good game. And the Suns have looked good, but they're kind of an up-and-down team. The Sixers have good defenders. They're one of the better defending teams, and they'll make it hard on Booker and CP3 to facilitate. Danny Green's a good defender. Ben Simmons is elite. they'll make it hard for the Suns to score. DeAndre Ayton will be a non-factor. I'm not worried about him. And that's why I got Sixers -1 on the road, which they aren't notably a good team on the road, but I want to pick them. So I got Sixers -1, Heat versus Jazz under 218, and then the Rockets versus Knicks under 209. This line might go down, might go up. I don't care. We're picking the under. I bet these teams don't combine for over 200 points easily. They struggle to hit over 100 points. Since the James Harden trade, this Rockets team has been very good defensively. The Knicks under Tom Thibodeau have been very good defensively all year. Neither team shoots the ball exceptionally well. That's why I'm going with the under again tonight. And then we're going to go, finally, my ideal DFS lineup. And like I said, man, if you aren't following us at Calling Our Shot on Twitter, we post live updates there, post our articles there. Check it out. As well as on our website, we have everything there normally every morning. So feel free to go in there and look at our full analysis. I'm just going to run down quick through my ideal DFS lineup. I'll talk about a couple of them. TJ McConnell, been playing very well. It's against the Hawks. The Hawks don't have any backups. I believe Chris Dunn and Rondo are both out. McConnell's quietly been pretty good recently. He's had basically 30 fantasy points in about 4 of his past 5 games. He's playing a lot of minutes. He'll do well against the Hawks tonight. Steph Curry, like I said, I already talked about Draymond Green. He's been killing it, and they've been kind of having a great connection as they always have their whole career. Steph Curry, he's going to wake up and want a big game against this Nets team. The Nets don't play a lick of defense, and that will continue tonight. Curry should continue to fill it up, and it's a home game. They don't want Brooklyn coming in and beating them. That's why I got to take him. Already talked about Jordan Clarkson. The backup should play more minutes. He's been killing it this year. 6th Man of the Year candidate, probably going to win that award. Donovan Mitchell, I picked him last night. He did super well. Got to pick him again this night. He's been killing it all year, especially with Mike Conley out the last 3 games, averaging over 50 fantasy points. He's got great value at only 8,300. Then we're moving on to Jimmy Butler. Already talked about him. Justin Holiday. Odd to see me have 2 Pacers, as I normally am not the biggest Pacer fan, but Justin Holiday had over 19 points in every single game in his past 6 games. That's not going to be great value, but if he can get us 25-30, which he's been able to do over the last couple of games, he's had 3 games of over 25 points. That's great value at only 5,100. I'm going to lock him in. Then moving on, already talked about Draymond Green. My center, Kelly Olynyk. I had to take him. Yesterday, if you didn't see yesterday's video, we picked Brook Lopez, and the brother went crazy. He had like over 23 points. Rudy Gobert, I already talked about, he can't leave the paint. He just refuses. And so he's going to leave the center wide open to shoot threes. And that center is likely going to be Kelly Olynyk. They can put another power forward, maybe Bojan Bogdanovic on Kelly. I'm not really worried about it. Kelly Olynyk's been doing very well. His price has risen to 5,100, but I'm not really worried about that. He's at over 21 fantasy points in every single one of his last 7 games. We're taking it again tonight. And the player you need tonight, Nerlens Noel, 4,000. He's a power forward, but Mitchell Robinson is going to be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Nerlens Noel will slide right into that role as the starting center most likely, and he'll fill up the stat sheet and get great value for only a 4,000 price point against this Rockets team. And that's going to be my ideal DFS lineup. Please click that subscribe button down below as we're trying to get to 200 subscribers by the end of the weekend. This has been Austin. I'll catch you guys soon. Peace out.